Hey, you there. So, today I thought about exploring the past and just figuring what people used to watch back in the day. And that being through one entire service that a lot of people have come to know and given up on due to more of its recent stuff, Cartoon Network. Now, why Cartoon Network, you ask? Because a lot of people have grown up with this specific streaming service, including Adult Swim, which also includes me, by the way, which punctured a hole in society to where it'd be towards late 2000s children who might have watched this stuff, because these shows were either hidden gems or just certainly common back in the day. Continuing off of that, though, I'd like to say that, it's not that bad anymore. They're starting to get into basically showing more movies and older content that they've premiered on the network. Now, with that intro out of the way, I'd like to mention our first show, because I'm going to be talking about 4 in this exact video that you're currently watching. So, first show, Adventure Time. Mainly because the show was amazing and had enough lore and deep parts that have flourished within it and its community. Hell, there's even an Adventure Time game on the 3DS, which I still actually own to this day. I enjoyed this show so much, and I still do to this day. And Cartoon Network still premieres it, only when it's some sort of special or something like that. Albeit rare, it still happens from time to time, and I love it. Anyways, continuing off of that show, I'd like to talk about a fan favorite, like a huge show for everyone. That's right, Regular Show. And oh my god, this show was just pure bliss, and it was absolutely an acid trip of wonderfulness. This show was anything but regular. It was completely abnormal, but also insanely phenomenal. I love this show, and a lot of people do. I'm glad that a lot of people grew up with it so we can relate on it. Thank you. I'd like to move on from this, though, and talk about another show. Ed, Edd n Eddy. Now, I loved this show as a kid. Although I didn't watch it as much as I wanted to, I still enjoyed it. A lot of it, actually. I still watched a lot of it, managed to watch some random episodes compiled together like what they usually did. But, hey, you win some, you lose some. I'm willing to take that risk. I always got interested in the shows with wacky and zany characteristics of the characters placed into the show itself. And with Ed, Edd n Eddy, I always wonder what trouble they can get into. Though, moving off of that topic, I'd like to talk about one final show in this, although there are some honorable mentions like Jimmy Neutron and some others that, that's too long for the video. Samurai Jack. Now you're probably wondering, why Samurai Jack? Well, the show itself was such an amazing trip throughout the past, like Jack. Each character in each episode revolved of Jack himself, or just a different character, in that which led up to him. The show also had cultural references and also pieces of Jack's history and his journey back to the past to find a coup and take it down his wrath. The reboot was pretty fire though. I'll have to admit, that reboot was pretty cool. I liked it. Although it did end out of nowhere, and it doesn't stream on any platforms anymore, that's okay. I'm just happy I at least got to see it. Well, that's something to leave off on. I hope you guys liked what shows I talked about in this video, as a lot of people do seem to remember them. But, although there were some honorable mentions that I mentioned, like Invader Zim, Jimmy Neutron, etc., etc., even Chowder 2, and a lot of many others. But I didn't want to cram them into one entire video, as that's not usually my style, perhaps. So I just talked about 4 and gave you the rest and some of my facts and history and knowledge about them, and my enjoyment of watching these shows. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and make sure to lick on my fat fucking nut!